Do you remember when shooter games actually felt revolutionary? Well, I do. There was a time when developers were genuinely trying to push boundaries. We used to get bangers day after day, instead of the slop we are currently getting from the genre.
It's the biggest piece of dog.
And it's not just nostalgia talking. You could really feel the passion behind those older titles. It's clear that most game developers nowadays care more about monetary gains than actual substance. But what about the time when studios genuinely sought to create memorable experiences? To answer that, we need to look back at a game that stood out even back then. A game that didn't just follow trends, but actually set them. Well, that would take us back to the original Max Payne, released in 2001. A stylish third-person shooter that defined innovation with its philosophical yet witty writing,
But when somebody decides to play baseball with your head, you tend to get sore.
unique action sequences, and a legendary face. And even after all these years, the game still slaps harder than most modern shooters trying twice as hard. So let's take a drive down memory lane and talk about the story of Max Payne. We start the game with a tutorial. I kinda had a rough time with the controls at the beginning. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Oh god, how do you jump this? But thankfully, the last 14 brain cells that I had finally started working. Hey, there we go. The story begins with the end of the game, with the police surrounding me in a building. But to make sense of what's happening, we have to go back to the beginning of Max Payne's journey. Max Payne was a detective working for the NYPD. One day after coming back home, he receives a greeting like no other.
No, please, God, no. God, no, please, Michelle. Oh, baby.
His newborn daughter and wife were killed in their home. 3 years later, it turns out he transferred himself to the DEA. He had a single lead on the killers. They were high on a drug called Valkyr. Max gets a tip from an anonymous source claiming that a mob boss called Jack Lupino is trafficking Valkyr. Max's associate, BB, informs him to meet with his partner, a guy named Alex, in the Roscoe station to handle Lupino. Max arrives at the subway station, and things go bad real quick.
Death was in the air at Roscoe Street. I'd have to find Alex fast.
Then, a couple of mafia members show up to take out the trash. Did I just call myself trash? But I dispose of them rather quickly. Ooh. The gameplay is already fire. The bullet time is such a unique concept, especially at the time. But you know what's also unique? Being a Syntax subscriber. So I'd appreciate you if you join me. However, it's only getting worse from here. More and more mafia members show up.
I said good.
What the f is this piece of sh?
Anyway, I meet an officer that claims he can call for help in the control center up above, so I need to escort him there. We reach the control room, but the idiot dies immediately. I'm guessing this is what happens to you if you don't play the tutorial. After clearing up the control room, I turn on the power to the subway and finally head to Roscoe Station. Upon arriving, a group of mobsters greet me with their guns, but I'm blessed with a gift of bullet time. Ain't no one killing me today. Oh god damn. Something I didn't like at the beginning of the game was the autosave feature. At first it felt counterintuitive to the idea of difficulty, but the more I played the game, the more I started to realize that Max Payne is one giant puzzle. Each level is structured in a way that needs to be solved, a jigsaw waiting for all the pieces to come together. Anyhow, it turns out we have been led to a trap. There was a bank robbery at Roscoe Street, and suddenly I was a part of it. After killing the thieves, the bank receives a call from the deputy chief, Jim Bravora, ordering the robbers to surrender. I put the phone down to not reveal my identity, since that would put me in a tough spot. I plant and detonate some explosives to pull myself out of this mess. Then I meet up with Alex.
Hold it! Max! Jesus, you almost gave me a heart attack! I nearly shot you!
Alex, I'm glad to see you.
What the hell's going on? There are more corpses here than at the city morgue!
It's an armed robbery, a tunnel job straight to the Roscoe Bank vault through the old station wall. Is this why? This is Lupino's gig?
This is Lupino's doing? Lupino's men? Really?
You sure know how to pick a place? Can you get through?
No, it's locked. We gotta get out of here. If it's Lupino, it's... Alex? Alex!
There was nothing I could do. He was dead. I could tell by the empty, accusing stare of his eyes.
Ultimately, I find my way out of the subway station and into the cold streets of New York. And then Max comes to a realization.
The NYPD was closing in. I could hear the sirens. Their wail was a crescendo. Lupino thought he could get us by taking Alex out and leaving me to take the fall for it. All he had gotten was my attention. I went for the hotel first. It was a sad old thing with flickering lamps and faded colors, cheap mobster punks and tired-eyed prostitutes. I walked straight in, playing at Bogart, like I'd done 100 times before. The place was run by a couple of murdering mobsters with shark smiles. The Finito brothers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the pain in the butt. Pain to the max.
You're killing me. Did you make that up yourselves, or you get some wino downstairs to come up with it? Don't answer that. A rhetorical question. I got something for the boss. Lupino around?
That kind of depends on who's asking. A friend or a junk squad plant. Don't answer. It's one of them, how do you put it, rhetorical questions. Lupino ain't here, but he says bye.
Lupino wasn't in his cheap hotel. Instead, I ran into the Finito brothers.
Finito brothers? More like, your life is now finito. Okay. Anyway, Jack Lupino informs his right-hand man, Vinny Gognitti, that the Valkyr deal will go down in Vinny's hotel, and a guy named Rico Muerte is gonna see it through. So I head to Rico's room, and in my way, I turn on the TV to some shocking news.
Tonight, the city's fight against the nightmare drug Valkyr took a turn for the worse, as DEA Special Agent Alex Balder was found brutally slain at the Roscoe Street subway station. A suspect was seen leaving the site only moments after the shots had been fired, and the NYPD is currently in pursuit of Max Payne, a repeated felon believed to be armed and extremely dangerous.
The police force is now hunting me down. After entering his room, I read a note signed by the Punchinello family's Don, hinting that he knew about the Valkyr deal. At the end, I enter an elevator that leads into Lupino's hotel. Then I reach a bar where I meet with Rico himself. I catch him with his pants down and kill him.
The antique switchboard. There was an old telephone switchboard in the back room of the reception area, the kind that made phone tapping child's play. It wasn't hard to picture a fat pimp sweating with headphones on, listening to his hookers talk dirty and fake orgasms over a web of party lines, the blood veins of New York. Right now, there was a different set of moans and groans going on.
Boss, Gognitti, this is Max Payne. He came, started capitalist. He killed him.
Are you freaking kidding me? He's just one lousy cop. You better be freaking kidding me. Whack him. What's the freaking problem? Hello? Answer me. Hello?
The word was out. A deadly virus released into the city's corrupt circulatory system. Something wicked this way comes. Max Payne at large.
This game is full of clever writing. Almost anything Max says is quote-worthy, and the voice acting by the late James McCaffrey is one of the most iconic in the industry. It's heartbreaking we lost him this early. So after reaching Lupino's hotel, a car drives by and blows it up. The passenger seat was occupied by none other than Vladimir, the boss of the Russian mob, and an enemy to the Don. However, my only way of confronting Lupino is through Vinny, but the police are on my tail, so I act quickly and arrange a special meeting with the guy. I chase this squeaky little ass to the point of him jumping on a moving train to escape. And, let's just say I ain't the smartest tool in the shed. Vinny puts the sprinters on and runs away more. At this point, he has probably crossed 3 time zones. Eventually, our cat and mouse game ends in an alleyway with an interesting boss fight. Am I shooting peas? And at last, I confront Vinny.
Where's Lupino?
Screw you!
Bad start, Vinny.
police brutality.
I rate pretty high on that.
You can't just hurt me in cold blood.
Just keep telling yourself that. Listen good, Candyman. I'm not gonna be anybody's fall guy. I wanna know where your boss is hiding. There was no glory in this. I hadn't asked for this crap. Trouble had come to me in big dark swarms. The good and the just were like gold dust in the city. I had no illusions. I was not one of them. I was no hero. Just me and the gun and the crook. My options had decreased to a singular course.
I'll tell you, just don't hurt me no more. Lupino's at RagnaRock, the nightclub. Book me, take me, haul me to the freaking jail, just don't hurt me.
Your rights will be ready at your funeral.
Now, it's time for RagnaRock. No, that's not what I meant. I felt like the club wasn't so keen on me being there, so I had to work fast. I pick up a book of Norse mythos that talks about Ragnarok, the cold winter that ended the Viking world. It turns out Lupino was a big fan of Atreus, but nonetheless, I still had to kill him. The nightclub was full of references to the Norse world and the devil. He even has books of witchcraft and Ouija boards. I have to take this guy out before he starts ghost hunting. The world doesn't need more of them. Trust me. After a ton of back and forth, I am led to the backstage of a theater. Lupino's men start attacking me, but they aren't worthy enough. And lastly, Jack grows a pair and shows up.
I had known there'd have to be a catch in it somewhere, and this one was the Empire State Building of catches. Lupino was pumped up and dying to go 15 rounds with a mutant alligator. And then he started this spooky monkey talk, straight from a bad dream. Mine.
I have tasted the flesh of fallen angels. I've tasted the devil's green blood. It runs in my veins. I've seen beyond a world of skin, the architecture of blood and bow and arrow. Death is coming! She is coming, and hell follows with her. This is the twilight winter. I am ready to be her son. Her time is now, and all who stand in her way must die!
Yeah, he didn't last long.
When Lupino finally went down, I wanted to make real sure he'd stay that way. V was a bad monster. Turned them into friggin' zombie demons from outer space.
I think he's dead already.
Huh? And that's when it happened. Lisa Punchinello. Lisa Punchinello was the Don's wife.
Mona Sachs, Lisa's evil twin.
Your safety's off, evil twin. You might hurt someone with that gun of yours.
Lisa's the damsel in distress. I'm the professional. I'd blow you away without batting an eye.
Sure, and you can check out my credentials splattered all over this joint.
Jack couldn't have framed you, not the state he was in. We're after the same slime bag. Angelo Punchinello's the one who murdered your friend and framed you with it. This one's mine. I hate the guts of that sadistic wife-beater. Why not pool our bullets for this one?
I thought you'd never ask. My finger was starting to twitch.
How do you like your whiskey?
I'm easy, as long as you don't try to slip me a Mickey.
You're a real angel, Max.
It was good stuff. Tasted sweet as honey going down.
Nothing personal. Can't risk you going berserk and getting Lisa killed.
After she drugs me, I enter a dreamlike state of my darkest nightmares. Now, when I said darkest nightmares, I meant both in-game and in real life, because this section was abhorrent. After waking up from my coma, I realized that Lupino's men had dragged me back into his hotel's basement, so I break free to escape the hotel. After making my way out, I get chased by Vladimir, but it turns out he's the only one in town that didn't want me dead, so he makes me an offer that I can't refuse. Apparently there's a guy named Boris who used to pull jobs for Vlad, but one day he decided to turn on him and work with Punchinello. He has a cargo ship full of guns and hardware that belongs to Vlad. If we kill Boris and restore the goods to Vlad, he'll supply me with enough guns to go after anyone. Now the cargo ship section is probably my least favorite. Besides this demonic creature, The levels are full of hallways and enemies being placed a couple of continents away, which is why they introduced the sniper rifle in this section. But here's the thing. You're not gonna use the sniper every single time. So often you'll try to kill them using your pistols or an SMG or a shotgun, you know. But Max Payne's worst aspect is that aiming isn't so accurate, which results in those weird encounters where you are visibly aiming at the enemy, but your bullets would rather hit birds than humans. Anyway, I reach the bottom of the ship where Boris is hiding, and I kiss him goodbye with my 50 cal. Then I inform Vlad of my success. It seems like we are now the dearest of friends. Now, let me teach you something about life. If you are in a terrible position, you should always plan ahead. Now, why am I saying that? Because Max probably missed the memo. He acknowledges that going directly to the Don's manor is a death wish. So he calls the Don to lure him to a restaurant, where he would try to ambush him there. Obviously, the Don isn't foolish enough to leave his manor and meet the guy trying to kill him. And yeah, he doesn't. Max gets to the restaurant, they burn the whole thing down, and he barely escapes in Vlad's car. And now what is the next step? He goes directly to the Don's manor. So what in God's name was that entire thing about? Why not just go immediately to the manor? I honestly think Max just wanted to go through a burning building. I'm telling you, this guy's just farming aura points. In any case, Max enters the manor, but it seems like Mona Sachs has already beat us to the party. The manor is made of small rooms with interesting art design. This is where the puzzle-ish game design shines. I reach the Don's door, where I hear him crying on the phone for help.
Begging for help. He should have been saying his goodbyes. Punchinello was a pushover. The moment I stepped into the room, he folded like a deuce before a royal flush.
No, wait. I was just doing what I was told. I couldn't refuse. She's someone high up. Government, maybe. I don't know.
He was trying to buy more sand for his hourglass. I wasn't selling any.
I get swarmed by security guards, people that aren't men of the Dawn. Then, they zero in on me and surround the room I'm in.
I could tell when I was outgunned. It was time to take another beating. The mystery witch was a real barracuda. Trouble on dagger heels, a smoking assault rifle in her hand, and an army of killer suits behind her.
How sweet. I get to kill two birds with one stone.
Sooner or later, it was going to catch up with you.
Mr. Payne, it's time to show you the benefits of my brew. Be a good boy now.
You'd find that Lady Luck was really a hooker. You were fresh out of cash.
Gentlemen, we're done here. Take me to Cold Steel.
She had just given me an OD of Valkyr. I could feel green fire eating my brains. They turned to steam. They did a fade on me. I'd never had a chance. The witch had got me just as sure as if she put a gun to my head and pulled the trigger. The shadows rushed me, bruised mugshot faces hungry for revenge. They knew my weak spots and closed in for the kill. The floor turned into a vortex of green blood. I fell.
And now for your favorite part. Whoever designed this section is a menace to society. Jail time is not enough to justify this demon's acts. And on top of that, it turns out my game was bugged, and I kept trying endlessly thinking it was my mistake I kept dying. But soon enough, I change some settings and break out of this prison. Upon waking up, I go after the old lady. My only clue was Cold Steel. After digging up some information, I find the whereabouts of Cold Steel, a foundry located outside the city. My mission now is to find the woman behind all this and figure out the last piece of the puzzle. I activate my hitman skills and infiltrate the gates. The place is rigged with explosives. I had absolutely no clue how to maneuver around them, so I kept shooting them from a distance. This section reminds me a lot of IGI. If you know, you know. That game was peak childhood memories. Anyway, I pick up a walkie-talkie of the guards. I hear them trying to destroy the evidence of whatever they were doing here, so I had to act fast. I catch the security trying to burn down the place, but eventually I reach the truth.
Top secret. Project Valhalla. U.S. Army. Yggdrasil Network. Valhalla, the otherworldly place in Norse mythology where the bravest heroes spent their afterlife feasting and fighting forever, their wounds miraculously healed night after night. Valkyr, the maidens who chose the most courageous Viking warriors and carried them to Valhalla. 1991. The research objective is to create a chemical substance to enhance the stamina and morale of infantry troops. 1995. Results unsatisfactory. Project cancelled.
Someone had decided to continue the sick experiment unauthorized.
Project compromised. Data leak. Fix the damage by any means necessary. Security clearance red. Authorized by the project lead. Field test. Double the dosage for all the remaining test subjects. Observe and record the subject's behavior in an urban setting.
The drop-off point was my old address in New Jersey. The file dated 3 years ago. Just when you thought you had reached the deepest depths of horror, it suddenly got worse. How to turn off that small voice inside your head that started to whisper that you should be glad that now, if not before, your revenge was justifiable on any conceivable moral scale. That small voice proved, beyond any doubt, that I was damned. Piece together a jigsaw, and the final picture is you finishing that same puzzle. A mad, green-eyed killer standing behind you. An urban legend come true. The Project Valhalla test subjects had been the mad junkies who had murdered my loved ones. The rest was simple body count math. It all pointed to her. Ms. Valkyr. The factory went up in a fiery inferno behind me. All my leads were dead, turned to smoke and dust. I'd lost my way. I hadn't slept in a million years. I was in an all-night diner, downing cup after cup of coffee that tasted like engine oil, when a new message from BB got me back on the killer track.
What the hell happened at Roscoe Street? Maxie, I'm going out on a limb here. We need to talk this through, come up with a plan. 2:30 a.m., the Choir Communications Garage.
The more I thought about Alex's murder and the frame-up, the more it felt like an inside job. I should have seen it coming. BB had sold me out, and now he wanted to finish what he'd started. The garage was dead. BB showed up in his tailor-made suit, gold watch, and cufflinks to match, all way beyond a cop's pay.
Maxie.
Oozing suave charm, he was guilty as hell. What the hell does BB stand for anyway? Backstabbing bastard?
Come on, don't be like that. Have a cigar.
I don't smoke.
Maxie, you have no idea how big this is. It's huge. You have no idea.
I think I do. You're a bribe-taking bent cop who sold out his partner. Those mobsters in the subway were a dead giveaway. Hard to miss. Bet it was exactly like this with Alex. Up close and personal.
You can't win this one, Max.
No, but I can make damn sure none of you do either. BB turned out to be another cardboard cutout bad guy.
BB sold me out, and now he's gotta go. We indulge in a long chase through the parking lot floors. I finally kill him, then I get a phone call from a man named Alfred Woden. He promises to help me find the woman I'm after. His intentions are still unclear to me, but I have no other choice.
Woden was waiting for me on the steps of the old building.
Mr. Payne, let's go inside. The others are anxious to begin.
The others?
Despite the general misconception, this building actually predates the City Hall by 2 years, thus being the oldest municipal building still in use here at the foot of the Brooklyn Bridge.
No kidding. The old man played tour guide as he led me through a dark domed hall. The answers I was after loomed large ahead.
Mr. Payne, I would like to introduce you to my colleagues in what we call the Inner Circle.
You've been watching too much X-Files.
You have seen the files on Project Valhalla. We can fill the gaps, provide you with the information missing from those files. We were all involved in the early stages of the project during the Gulf War.
What's the catch?
We would very much like to blow this thing wide open, but our hands are tied. Her name is Nicole Horn. She was the key figure in Project Valhalla. When the funding was discontinued, she simply refused to quit. She knew exactly what she had in her hands. Nicole Horn is the president of Aesir Corporation. She has more than half the city in her pocket. We need you to take her out.
That was the cue for the killer suits to kick in the doors and swarm inside. It was an impressive floor show, but I decided to leave early anyway. It was only a one-story fall. Lucky me.
Upon escaping the ambush, I make my way through the basement, where I find camera footage of Woden being alive. Somehow he had made it out of that situation, and it's my turn to do the same. After an infinite amount of bodies I left behind, I finally escape the hall. The freezing atmosphere of New York adds a layer of uniqueness to the game. It all adds up to elevate the feeling of coldness and emptiness that Max was feeling. His vengeance is now our vengeance, and we will see it through to the end. But cold steel was no walk in the park. A surveillance system alongside an insane amount of guards made my mission almost impossible. But I had to do it. Max starts going through a laser corridor, thinking he's Leon Kennedy. Wait a second. I meet Mona again, but this time she gets shot by Horn's men in an elevator. But by the time I kill all the guards, the elevator doors open, but the body is nowhere to be found. Perhaps she's not dead after all. Finally, I reunite with Horn.
No begging, no bribes. She knew better. Honor among killers. We who were about to die. Both of us knew how this would end, in pain and suffering.
All this because your wife stuck her nose into things that were none of her business.
The cops were coming to take me away. The sirens were like a bad conscience I couldn't shake.
It's ridiculous you've made it this far. You won't be alive when they get here.
Stop him!
Her men are not enough to stop me, so I eliminate them one by one. Then after a bit of parkour and slick movement, I spot Horn making a run for it to a chopper. My intelligence rises, and I take her out with my thinking.
They were all dead. The final gunshot was an exclamation mark to everything that had led to this point. I released my finger from the trigger. And then it was all over. The storm seemed to lose its frenzy. The ragged clouds gave way to the stars above.
Max Payne, this is Deputy Chief Jim Bravura from the NYPD. We've got the building surrounded. Throw down your weapons and lie down with your hands behind your head.
A bit closer to heaven. The cops' voices were distant and muted.
Freeze! NYPD! Hold it right there!
My ghosts released me from their haunting. Down below, New York City glittered like diamonds on black velvet.
You gave us one hell of a ride. Take him down to Central Booking.
You heard the man.
Woden was there in the crowd, standing by the sidelines. It wouldn't be over till the man with the patch would say so. He'd say the right words. I knew he would. He'd better. Woden grinned smugly. It was the grin of a winner. That made two of us.
Man, they don't make games like they used to back in the day. Max Payne is a genius game that should be the blueprint to anyone trying to make a memorable experience. The thing that makes this game stand out is that it's not just a game that excels at a single aspect, but rather a complete package full of love and passion that seeps through the writing and gameplay. It is a complete story that I don't think would have worked in anything but a game. And if you want proof of that, well, they made a Max Payne movie. And let's just pretend that didn't happen. Max is a complex human being with a ton of contradictions, but we can't help but sympathize with him. His way of coping with death was through revenge, and he was so clouded by it that morality was not a part of the equation anymore. And even after he got what he wanted, it didn't change a thing, nor did it help him, as we can clearly see with the sequel. This is a tale of revenge done right. The incorporation of the Norse mythology within the story and the incredible symbolism behind Valhalla, Valkyr, and RagnaRock makes the setting of the first game stand out above the newer installments. There's also not a single character that gets less or more time than they deserve. It's all just perfect. But what's the next chapter in the life of Max Payne? I guess we'll have to wait for the next video. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you got any feedback, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. But in any case, see you in the next one.